what's going on, everybody? So, today I'm finally going to talk about it, and it being Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie. Now, since I was about 7 years old, I've been wanting to see a live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And I've been such a huge fan of the franchise since the original game for the Sega Genesis. Just everything from the character design, gameplay, but most of all, just the attitude from Sonic the Hedgehog in those original Sega Genesis games was more emotion than I've ever seen in any game. But going back to Sonic 3, the movie, I think it was pretty much everything I wanted. It wasn't too much like the second one, where they had a lot of human based storylines. They had Tom and all of the other cast, but only for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then it goes right back to the Sonic story. And I thought that was pretty much perfect, using those characters as stepping stones for Sonic's core story. But yeah, the big question, did Keanu Reeves do Sonic fans a solid by playing Shadow? Yeah, definitely. He is probably the definitive Shadow. I absolutely love Keanu Reeves as Shadow, and that DLC for Shadow X Sonic Generations, where Keanu Reeves actually voices Shadow in that stage, I thought was absolutely phenomenal and a really well put together preview for what we were going to get in the Sonic 3 movie. But yeah, everything from the action, comedy, and characters were very solid in this movie. I thought Sonic was hilarious as usual, but most importantly, I was looking forward to the storyline between Maria and Shadow. I wanted them to do that justice because I feel like we only got to say goodbye to Maria and not actually live through why Shadow thought she was so important. And in this movie, they actually go into the relationship between Shadow and Maria, and that actually brought a tear to my eye. I did not expect this movie to make me genuinely sad. But of course, Keanu Reeves brings his entire heart to every single role that he's given, and he does nothing short of amazing with Shadow. And I thought, as usual, Jim Carrey was kind of the star of the show. He's the funniest, the most active, and he talks the most. But that is Dr. Robotnik in a nutshell. This guy always wants your attention, and he's always trying to have some kind of ulterior motive inside an ulterior motive. So of course Jim Carrey is just a perfect casting for Dr. Robotnik or Eggman. And I thought Ben Schwartz was also incredible as Sonic the Hedgehog, as usual, because he has that way of talking where everything kind of sounds casual. Even the most important parts of a conversation sound casual, and I thought Ben Schwartz realized that energy that Sonic brings to every single game, and not just the whoa kind of voice acting. He had this childish demeanor about him that made Sonic feel like a real person. And his energy kind of felt like just someone going off on a ADHD/OCD tangent, where he's so caught up with his thoughts that he can't really slow down. And he actually has to back up to get more important details from the story. And I thought Ben Schwartz was the right person to convey Sonic the Hedgehog, at least young Sonic the Hedgehog, because I'm aware that Sonic does get a lot more serious as he grows older, like in the Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic '06, but I'm pretty sure this was a conscious choice to make him childish to the very end, and the casting was on point for him. And in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, I personally think this is the best performance he's given since the first one. Let's talk about the main attraction, which is the Sonic Adventure 2 storyline in Sonic 3. There's some kind of arc. There's Chaos Emeralds, but there wasn't an ultimate life form in this movie. Instead, it was Dr. Robotnik working with Gerald Robotnik, who basically lost all hope in the world, even though he seemed pretty chipper most of the time with his grandson. But overall, that relationship fades and crumbles away while Gerald Robotnik reveals his actual plan, and that's to destroy Earth. While for some reason Dr. Eggman wanted Earth to remain in one piece and he wanted to rule it instead. He had other ideas for it, so they clash at the end of the movie and they have this kind of strange mechanized battle between them with their nanobots, which was alright. I think it kind of stole the attention away from Shadow and Sonic, especially since something happens to Tom in this movie, and Sonic gets pretty pissed off at Shadow. But then you have Gerald and Eggman butting heads at the end, which kind of causes Eggman to act as he did in Sonic Adventure 2, where he works together with Sonic and his team to save the world. And I thought that was the most Sonic I've ever seen in a theater. It's really hard to explain exactly what makes a Sonic movie, but it's basically a lot of powers, a lot of robots, and a lot of Super Saiyan battles. is what kind of makes a real sort of Sonic experience. And at the end, we get a Super Saiyan battle between Sonic and Shadow, where Sonic is just straight up trying to kill Shadow or trying to stop him, and Shadow turned into Super Shadow, as well as Sonic turning into Super Sonic. And that fight at the end was absolutely amazing. It's the Dragon Ball fight I've always wanted to see in the form of a Sonic movie. And I thought the climax of this film and the last 20 minutes were absolutely perfect, and it's everything I wanted to see from this film, minus the ultimate life form part, but you kind of don't want to see a lizard with the antenna of an arc stuck up his butt. So they had to go with Sonic and Shadow trying to defeat a bunch of robots that kind of come out of nowhere, and I thought that was a little underwhelming. But the fight between Sonic and Shadow was everything I wanted. And by the end of the film, it gives you everything that you kind of wanted to see, or everything that this movie could have been. And it seems like Sonic 3 doesn't cut any corners with the final scenes. But after the movie ends, there are two after credit scenes that one shows Shadow returning, and another being the most important that they show first, which is Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic is a post-credit scene. I find that absolutely insane that they could fit not only one Metal Sonic, but a bunch of other Metal Sonics trying to kill Sonic at the end. But Amy Rose comes out of nowhere and saves him with her hammer, and I thought that was absolutely amazing. I just wanted them to show Amy once by the end, and I kind of figured they would show her in the post-credit scene, similar to how they showed Tails at the end of Sonic 1. But yeah, I absolutely loved this movie. I'm a huge Sonic fan, and anything Sonic I'm a sucker for, except for Sonic Boom. But yeah, what did you guys think of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie? Was it everything you ever wanted it to be? Because for me personally, I'm a huge Sonic Adventure 2 fan, and I still play that almost every single week when I'm bored or feeling down. And this movie did Sonic Adventure 2 justice, because it actually played Live and Learn at the end of the movie, and I just started freaking out. Of course, there are better ways to implement Live and Learn, but I think they did a fine enough job by the end to make it really feel like Sonic Adventure 2, the movie. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Later.
If you